are recording.
Okay, so I call the meeting to order at 7:04 p.m.
And this is the buildings, property, and cemetery.
Yes.
Okay.
And so the first order is to discuss the bench that's going to go in Sea Park. That's where is that where it's
The
going?
bench, I think, was planned to be out
Here,
here in front
okay.
of the council chambers, and this is for Mr. John Neal, who was on council.
Right.
His family had inquired about a bench, a plaque on the bench, and then a plaque for the wall in here. But their intentions, I believe, is for the bench to be where the council chambers are. So in the future, if we move it to the armory, the bench would go there as well. And they also wanted a plaque hung in the council chambers with his picture and some wording on that. So they did provide me with the picture and the wording that they would like on the bench. We have gotten a few pricing for the benches, and the most expensive that I saw through here was $1,600. The Neal family did talk about doing the plaque in bronze,
Right.
But the
For watching
jeweler
right.
did not recommend that, simply for being outside, and if people were sitting on the bench, it would protrude and people would not be comfortable sitting there. So the jeweler did recommend anodized aluminum, which would be about $400. So you may be looking at just the bench and the plaque, roughly $2,000. The inside plaque, I have not gotten priced on that yet.
Okay, this is the question that I have.
Okay.
Okay, so why do we need a bench outside and a plaque inside? They're 10 feet away from each other.
Right.
I mean, because if we're going to put the information on the bench, then why we need to put it on the wall? See, I was thinking that the bench was going to go like in Sea Park.
Somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, so if it's two separate places, yeah, I just think it's overkill to have it so close because you're going to see it there, and then you're going to come in here
Correct.
and see it.
I agree.
And I do know from the council meeting, someone raised a question about if you put it in here, because we may move from out of here, then you have to worry about moving
We have
it.
to move it.
But yeah, I don't think we need it that close together. I mean, if we're gonna put something here, fine, but then I just think the bench should be somewhere else.
I have a question. What about the wording? Is that $400 included in all the wording that they gave, or is not? I don't think so.
Does that include the photo and everything?
I don't know, I printed this and Philip wanted to walk it over and talk to Mr. Watkins. I didn't hear the rest of it, so I don't know. Philip said $400, but I don't know if that's just for the plaque or not, so I'll get clarification on that.
I think we
as
need
well.
clarification on that before we introduce it to
Okay.
the family. And I recommend that going forward, because once we do this, which is a great idea, he
Right.
did a lot of good stuff, of course, but we already know what's going to happen. It's going to be
More.
rainfall. It's going to be more and more and more. So what I recommend is that moving forward, we have a set cap.
Right, or what we gonna
Like
pay.
we'll pay up to $2,000. Just saying that because that. But then, if you're interested in doing it for your family for the recognition, I recommend it. They pay half and town pay half. That's what I think.
So you're saying set the cap of
Let's cap it.
only spend 2,000 total, and then whoever's interested, the town pay half and that person pays
Yeah.
half. Okay.
And-
So,
And it may not be that high, but
right,
you know.
we wouldn't spend we would not get anything that's over $2,000. And then
Correct.
if
The
the
Right.
town out-of-pocket expense would be $1,000.
Yeah.
She said, I believe.
Yeah.
And I think we also need to set the criteria, because what's gonna end up happening, well, we know he's worthy,
Correct.
but now anybody can come and say, well, I want my family member honored. So I mean, I think we should have some basic criteria, whether it's their contribution to the town
Yeah.
or whatever, some specific, because otherwise we're gonna end up getting an influx, because they're gonna see that, and then somebody, well, grandma did this, and then
Now, if somebody came up and said, hey, I want to, Billy, since he's our mayor, since he's leaving, if he came up or he had a family member that came up and said, hey, I want to give a bench
right,
and put it in the park and they all
Yeah.
expenses paid,
Yeah.
That's
I
different,
feel
right,
like we
yeah.
can't
Yeah.
say- I mean,
Right.
it'd
Yeah,
be crazy if
that's
we
that's
said-
different.
Right,
That's
yeah.
different.
Right, yeah, so I just think somewhere we gotta have some type of
They need to submit
criteria.
a application and give us a thorough history like the Neal family did, because I knew nothing about Mr. Neal, but they spelled it all out for us.
Mm-hmm.
They had dates and they had all of that. Then we can make that decision versus you telling us that my mother did so and so and so.
And the plaque, I like the plaque idea, but I think that may be something in the armory.
Right, yeah, because we did
could
talk
actually
about
do
that.
like a wall of fame.
Yeah,
or
we did talk
not
about
a wall
that.
of fame, but,
But right.
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Memorial wall.
yeah,
But I recommend that if we're doing this bench, if the family, because once we do a bench and a plaque, everybody gonna want to have two. If we're doing the bench, whoever it is, if they want a plaque, they need to furnish that themselves. Because we're putting $1,000. It can go towards your plaque, or it can go towards your bench. You know, and whatever half is, because they might pick something for $1,000.
Yeah.
We don't want to say we're gonna pay $1,000, then we'll do $500. We just do whatever the purchase is. One purchase, we'll just do half of it.
Right.
That's what I recommend.
At a cap of 2,000.
At a cap of 2,000, it's only gonna be one. I don't think we should do both, because we're gonna have thousands of both.
but yeah,
banners.
because, yeah,
I like
how-
the memorial wall,
yeah,
but let
how
them
we
come
gon-
over there
yeah,
themselves. We
exactly,
gonna print that out.
right, yeah, because I also like the idea of doing the bricks in C Park, where, yeah, because you remember Greater Faith did that. I mean, I think it was like $100 and.
We did it at our job.
Yeah,
It's $100 a brick with your
And they did
family
it at the
inscribed
medical
in
center.
it.
Yeah,
When
and you
built
got
the
it,
medical
yeah,
center.
you got it engraved or whatever, I mean, so then anybody in town can pick up that expense and order
And
a
that might
memorial
be,
brick.
Well, that's
be
just-
like a wall you could do in the armory.
Yeah.
Bricks,
You look at
could
the
do
banners
something like
downtown. Jennifer's done a good job with them, and they're what, $50-$60,
that. They were 80 this year.
Okay, yeah,
but they pay for 'em.
right, yeah,
And
Those
and we
banners,
hang
yeah.
them. We do all that stuff. We take them down. We store them. We put them back up the following year.
right, yeah,
But I mean, that's actually a really good example that how the town, we're willing to recognize and honor people. But I mean, obviously, we can't foot the bill for all that stuff.
Yeah,
Right,
the,
yeah.
the first 2 years it was 50, but we run out of brackets and
right,
almost out of
yeah,
poles.
yeah,
But then the banners and everything went up this year,
Yeah.
so they've been being
But I still
50
think
and
for
this year
$80
was 80.
and
right, yeah,
the recognition that people get,
And it's a one-time fee. You
Yeah.
only pay it one time. So
The
we have them
family,
every year,
whoever
but
the
you don't
family
pay every year.
buys the banners.
yep,
That's
and we just
excellent.
put it up. And they look great out there.
They look great. They
They're
really do.
clear. The pictures are great.
And it brings people to town because they want to see.
Cause I go slow, I be looking too.
I be like, I know that person, I mean, that's him,
Yeah, so they turn out, they, that has been something really
Yeah, I'm
good for
sure
the town.
eventually they'll start getting tethered and whatnot, and at that point, I guess Jennifer will have to call the family up. And,
Well, I did my uncle and my grandfather, and they were on Main Street, but this year we decided that the first year people would be on the side street, so the newer people could be on Main Street and everybody could see them. So they did put my grandfather out here in front of my window, and this is the third year, and it still looks like brand new, so, you know, I don't know, they seem to be holding
I
up
mean,
pretty
that's
well,
a long
so,
time, yeah.
It's wonderful.
yes.
So, moving forward, if the family declines our recommendation and our offer, what are we gonna say? Well, okay, we're sorry.
Yeah, I mean,
Cause we probably when we
well,
present it,
obviously we have to go to
all of
full
them gonna
council.
come.
right,
So
yeah,
it's not just us that.
Right,
So the 7 have to agree, then we would approach the family.
right.
So,
So then, do y'all wanna make the recommendation that we will set a cap? Do y'all wanna say 2,000 or what do you
I
want
said
the cap
up
to
to, cause that way if you said 2,
Okay.
they're gonna squeeze us for the 2. Well, they,
up to 2 means
up to.
2 is the total project.
yeah.
Yes.
And it's gonna be like 5, it may be cheaper, but whatever, it's just up to the total project, and then
and
the,
then
whatever
required,
family, they're required to pay half of it.
right,
Cause we are recognizing it because of town, but you brought this to us, we didn't bring it to you.
Okay, so up to 2,000. We will create an application.
yeah,
And
so,
so they-
well, yeah,
So
application
you
of
can,
some,
so you can do the, so you
Some
can
kind
look
of
at the
format.
criteria.
right, yeah, so we can look at the criteria,
Create application for criteria for council to vote on.
Mhm.
All right, and council would agree to pay half.
Of one purchase, not for both.
Okay,
Yeah.
For this instance, they are agreeing to pay for half, or for any instance.
I say it's gonna be select
Is it-
every
it's
time
gonna
we're gonna
be-
have to talk about it.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to, each one will do it on a
Each one's
case by
gonna
case basis.
it's gonna be case by case.
So for the Neal family, council will agree to pay for half. Is that right?
The
That's
bench
your recommendation?
or the plaque, not both. Because you
Yeah.
say half, then so well y'all should say half. We're gonna get both of them.
Or plaque,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, and or yeah.
And perhaps when we talk to them, we can let them know, that in some point in time, we may have the council chambers in the armory, and we may do a wall of
Right, yeah,
council members.
yeah, and that's
Yeah.
where.
An honor
that-
wall, and
yeah.
then,
Yeah.
and then
And
that's
we can
where the
always
plaque
bring that
might
back
go.
Right,
again.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's not even a bad idea.
Yeah.
And I know there's far more greater people than council members, but having a wall, that way no one's excluded.
Exactly.
There's a wall.
A wall of
all-
honor. Yeah.
Of all past council members.
Right, yeah,
Uh-huh.
That
right,
building's gonna be big, and there's a lot of stuff that we're gonna have to fill up on walls, so.
right,
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Write that down, Jennifer, because we can forget that next
right.
year.
That, yeah, yeah, put that in the minutes, that we wanna defer the plaque to the wall of honor in the armory.
Yeah.
Okay.
And criteria will follow for that. Because they're gonna say, well, when is that gonna be? We don't know. There's just some future plans
Okay.
that we have.
And were there any other things we were gonna make,
Nope.
I think those were the only two, the criteria and the, up to 2,000.
Yeah, the cap of how much we're willing to pay.
Okay. And then the council would put in half
Mhm.
on this instance. Okay, is that good? So, do we have a motion to that effect?
I motion that we go with recommendations up to 2,000 and the council pay half of whatever purchase, of the given purchase.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
All in, and this is just recommended to council,
Right.
Just recommend, yeah, recommend,
Recommendation
yeah.
to the council.
okay? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So, is there anything else that anybody needs to report on for Buildings, Park, and Cemetery? If not, we will take this meeting now to C Park to look at the flower beds, and hopefully our esteemed Councilman Nash
Yeah.
will be
Yeah,
able to
because,
help us out with it.
right, did you talk to Philip today?
I did not. He
Well,
called me, but I.
well, yeah, he called me and he wants to, limit the flowers. He needs to get rid of some of them because maintenance is a problem.
Correct.
So we need
This
to,
is his drawing that he provided.
yeah, so we need to
Can you
go
figure that out?
and yeah, and we're relying on you, Eric, to tell us
And he wants
what can
more
go
of
or
this-
what-
What's that word right there?
or what can
Hardscape?
Yeah, he
stay.
wants more hardscape.
Agreed, and I agree that more hardscape, because the thing in this park is you can make a flower bed around something or put just a flower bed out in the middle of nowhere, but if you have nothing that actually accents, flower beds are to accent
Right,
features.
right.
There's no features in there except for the gazebo
Mhm.
and then the monument. So I agree. Now hardscape is going to come with a cost, but I think we can work with something like that. I mean, even if it's a project where you do one hardscape project every 2 years or something, so we can go in there and look.
So I will go, we're all just gonna drive over there, we will adjourn the meeting from there,
From there,
everybody
yeah.
can leave, but I'll bring my phone with me and I'll take pictures of the stuff and we can make recommendations.
Right, yeah,
from that.
decide
Sounds good.
what we're gonna keep, what we're not gonna keep.
I know what
Um,
some lady